Innocent Esquire. I am a legal officer here at Lawyers Alert, and you're welcome to our Thursday live streaming series on human rights issues. Today we're going to be having a conversation about a very important aspect of sexual violation and sexual violence here in Nigeria. We're going to be talking about rape, and we're going to be talking about discussions around rape. We're going to be looking at the definition of rape with the VAP Act. We're going to be looking at real conversations on rape. We're going to be looking at truths about rape. We're going to be looking at the legal remedy for rape. And we're going to be looking at what to do when there is an incident of rape. Once again, you're welcome. So, presently, the statistics of rape in 2019 has skyrocketed in a very high way. Like, people are almost becoming used to hearing that someone is raped almost any other day. And the truth is this: rape is a crime. Rape is a very unjustifiable crime. It's a terrible thing that can happen to anybody, and anybody can be raped. Boy, girl, woman, man, just about anybody can be raped. And rape is a crime. It's an unjustifiable crime. It's a terrible crime. It's a very, very terrible crime. So we're going to be looking at the provisions in the Nigerian laws for rape, and we're going to be looking at the VAP Act. Section 1 of the VAP Act tells us, or gives us a rather new or upgraded definition of rape. So the VAP Act, Section 1 says, that's subsection 1 of Section 1 says, a person commits the offense of rape if A, he or she intentionally penetrates the vagina, anus, or mouth of another person with any other part of his or her body or anything else. B, the other person does not consent to the penetration. Or C, the consent is obtained by force or means of threat or intimidation of any kind, or by fear of harm, or by means of false and fraudulent representation as to the nature of the act, or the use of any substance or additive capable of taking away the will of such person, or in the case of a married person, by impersonating his or her spouse. Now, previously in Nigerian law, all we used to have as definition for rape was penetration without consent. But here the VAP Act makes it more explicit. It explains it more, brings us to the fact that rape is more than just penetration without consent. It tells us that it says he or she before it used to be just she. And we actually recognize the fact that young boys and men are being raped too. Men and boys are also being raped apart from women. And so it also expressly spells out the different ways that a person can be raped. So it's no longer stricto sensu penetration without consent for women. So right now, we are glad that the VAP Act is here and it has made this explicitly clear. So now that we have looked at the definition of rape, we can find that in Section 1, subsection 1 of the VAP Act 2015. Now we're going to go straight to real conversations around rape. Now let's get real in the society today, Nigeria. So we're looking at the fact that rape can happen to anybody, man, woman, boy, or girl. And we're saying that rape can be very, very evil. In fact, I think that rape is one of the worst things that can ever happen to a person. It's one of the worst things that can ever happen to a person. So we see that rape in real life, we see that rape victims are being stigmatized, and there is everything wrong with that, because it's not their fault that they have been raped. It's the rapist's fault, not their fault. So rapists are the ones to be blamed for rape, not the victims. So I think stigma is something that we need to deal with as a society. We need to stop stigmatizing rape victims or rape survivors. We must show them love and care. And something else that comes with rape is the psychological and emotional trauma, low self-esteem, depression, and a whole lot of attendant issues when it comes to psychological and emotional trauma. So rape it doesn't matter if you can't say, yeah, guys are logical, they're not emotional. No, that is totally wrong. Anybody can be raped, and rape victims feel these issues. These are real issues that actually affect rape victims. They get to go through psychological trauma, emotional trauma, low self-esteem, depression, and the attendant consequences. Some of them even get to develop aftermath behavioral issues at the end of the day, and they try to find coping mechanisms to take that memory away from them. So rape issue they are real life issues. These are things that are actually happening in our society. Rape victims can also be infected by different. They can be infected by the rapist with different sexually transmitted diseases, hepatitis, HIV, and all the other things. Rape victims can also get pregnant, apparently, and then there are other things that have to do with health, injuries. Those are the things that rape victims get to deal with. Now, I can't say that somebody or anybody can actually totally measure the pain that a rape victim feels. I think that even rape victims sometimes cannot even handle the pain of the remembrance, the memory, and all of that. And the reason why we are going into details to talk about rape and sexual violence with regards to rape is because it's a real issue. Every week there's a report about rape. And it's something that is becoming very rampant in our society. People, adults especially, are now beginning to even make it go worse. There are different types of rape, but the one on the rise that is really, really terrorizing our society in Nigeria here today is child rape. How do you rape a child? Like, I don't understand. Like, let's like, we're talking about real issues of rape now. How can you rape a child? I don't understand. Rape an 11-month-old baby, a 5-year-old, a 7-year-old. How exactly do they look sexually attractive to you? It doesn't make sense that somebody, an adult, anybody at all, would rape a child. It doesn't make sense in any way. But this is what we are seeing in our society today. And it is very, very wrong. We must fight against rape. We must fight against rape of any kind. We must fight against sexual violence and rape in our society. So we're going to be looking at some truths about rape. First, rape is a crime. A couple of days ago, I encountered a lady who said that she wanted to settle the rape of her ward outside, um, outside of court, because the assailant was a family friend. They knew themselves, and then they found a way to actually dribble her and all of that, and at the end of the day it took so long before they actually reported the rape case. And now the ingredients to actually establish that case has actually gone, it has faded, and it's going to take more excellence and expertise to actually handle that case very well. My point is this: rape is a crime. Do not tolerate rape. A child is raped, your ward is raped, anybody is raped. It doesn't matter who did it, be it the father, the uncle, the teacher, no matter how close that person is to the person, especially if the person is a child, boy or girl. Report that crime immediately. Rape is a crime. It can't be settled out of court because of the attendant issues that come with it. I just want to also reiterate the fact that rapists are the ones at fault in a rape crime. The rape victim is not at fault. And then I want to say something when it comes to rape. When a rape has occurred, it's really traumatizing for the rape victim. I want to say that when it has happened, it has happened. You cannot go back in time to take it back. But there are things that you can do to actually eventually live above it. You can rise above it. Yes, you can. You're a survivor, you're a warrior, you can kick back, you can fight back, and you can rise above all of the issues that come with rape. I know that you can do it. Now, I want to also look at the legal remedy for rape. Not remedy in the fact that what has happened can be returned, but the sanctions that come for rapists, or accused rapists rather. VAP, we'll find that in the VAP Act, Section 2. Section 2 of the VAP Act tells us of the different punishments that would be given to people who have been proven guilty of rape. So, a person who willfully, I'm reading subsection 1 of section 2 of the VAP Act now. A person who willfully causes or inflicts physical injury on another person by means of any weapon, substance, or object commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a term of imprisonment not exceeding 5 years or a fine not exceeding 100,000 or both. A person who attempts to commit basically there are different punishments here prescribed for rape. Basically, there are different punishments prescribed for rape. There are a lot of them. I would enjoin us to get the VAP Act for our own consumption. It is very, very important that we do that. Get the VAP Act for ourselves. There is even a provision where we are told that when there's a provision in the law that provides that people who are accused and proven guilty of rape should be sentenced to life imprisonment, except they are below the age of 14. Basically, the law is really explicit when it comes to the punishment for rape. Now we're going to go straight to what to do when there is an incident of rape. Now, here at Lawyers Lab, we've worked on a series of cases of rape, and there are one or two things that we have found lacking in those cases. And from all of this, we have drawn an inference of what we think and what we believe would help aid a rape case. And these are things that we have put together. Number one, once a rape case occurs, once there's an incident of a rape case, the first thing to do is to go to a general hospital, a government hospital, and report. Have a holistic checkup on the victim and do run tests, a holistic checkup on the victim and run tests, and demand for a detailed medical report immediately. Don't wait for the next day or 2 weeks or 1 week. Immediately the tests are carried out. Demand, collect, ask for a detailed medical report from the medical examiner. The next thing you should do is to report to the police. I will also add that it's important that you get your lawyer involved. Very, very important to get your lawyer involved, especially at this part, to aid the smooth movement of your case. Get a lawyer involved, report to the police. You already have your medical report, which would aid the police in actually filing for an action in court and getting justice expeditiously for you. So I think that the next one, it's also important that you try to get evidence from the victim, the possible witness. Rape incidents rarely have witnesses, but where there is one, get a statement from the person. It's also important to get a statement from the victim, the possible witness, and then people that helped and people that can actually help to give validity to that incident. So it is important. The first thing that is very important is to go to a general hospital, a government hospital, because those documents given by the government hospital, the medical reports given by the government hospital, will be easily taken in court, and it will be easily received in court. So It's also very important to do this, especially on the day immediately it happens. Don't wait for the next week, don't wait for the next day or the next 2 days. And there's something that I want to really add. Even after instituting a matter in court, the victim should be taken for counseling and psychological evaluation. In Nigeria, we do not like to talk about psychological evaluation, counseling so much. We do not place so much priority on it, but it is very important for the total well-being of the victim, of the rape survivor. So I'm actually going to be wrapping this up very soon, and I'm going to be adding the fact that it is important that we as Nigerians look out for one another. We be our brothers' keepers. School is in session. I want to enjoin parents who are watching and who will be watching eventually to please be sensitive to your children. When they report things to you, do not take it lightly or lightly. Take it very seriously and attend to it immediately. I would also enjoin that parents and teachers teach the children the right things. Don't circumvent it. Don't try to. This is not the time to hide facts from them. Tell them this is called your penis. It is your private part. This is your vagina. It is your private part. Nobody should touch it. You tell them not daddy, not uncle, not teacher. Nobody should touch it. And you also tell them and let them know, teach them that when anybody touches them or says certain words to them, they should report to you immediately. And you must also ensure that your children can talk to you about anything. A couple of children in Nigeria, a lot of children, not just a couple of children in Nigeria, can hardly talk to their parents about things like this, and it is very wrong, because this means that a lot of rape victims suffer silently, and it is very wrong because when they suffer silently, it is a time bomb that is waiting somewhere in the future to explode. And it is said, and it has been observed, that people who have been abused eventually abuse others, especially when it has not been taken care of, especially medically and psychologically. So it is important that we let our children freely talk to us, communicate with us about any issue and every issue that they are going through in their life. Parents, I enjoin you to please be open to your kids. Teach them the right things, what people shouldn't say to them, what people should do to them, where people shouldn't touch them, where people shouldn't even take them to. It is very important that we are very, very, very cautious about what we do with our children, who we leave them with, where we leave them. These are very important because child rape is on the rise, and it doesn't have to be a baby girl. It can also be a baby boy. So don't be like, oh, I don't have a baby girl, praise God, and I'm totally free from all of this. No, there are reports of male children being raped either by males or female, but it doesn't still matter. Rape is rape. So we should be careful who we let our children be around, who we let have access to our children, where we leave our children. You shouldn't take reports that children give to you lightly. Take them very seriously, because a report today of "he touched me here" can turn to another thing tomorrow. So it's important that we take these reports very seriously. I also want to enjoin us as Nigerians to be our brother's keeper. You see something that's going on wrong, please take action immediately, report it immediately. And very importantly, I want to add that Lawyers Alert is here for you. We are here, wide arms open. We really, really are here to help you. We want to help you. So if you know anybody that has been a victim of rape or sexual violence or gender-based violence or has suffered any injustice whatsoever, please report to us. You can reach us here on Facebook. You can reach us via our website, www.lawyersalert.ng. You can reach us on our pages. You can get our numbers, call us. We are here at your service. Please do not hesitate to report any incidents of rape or violence. We are here to help you. It's very important that we make these reports because a place where we have a society where we have injustice on the loose is a society that is not moving forward. We want to move forward. We want people to have justice. We want people to be healed from this, and we want rapists to stop this rape. We need our society to be sane. We need the rape to reduce, the incidence of rape to reduce. So please call us if you know anyone, or if you have any issue at all, if you have been raped, if you have been a victim of violence, or you know somebody. Please report to us. We will take up the matter seriously and will get justice for you to the best of our ability. It's on this note that we'll be rounding up. Say no to sexual violence. Say no to rape. And let's have a great Nigeria. Thank you very much for being with us today, and we hope to see you next week. Bye bye. Have you finished?